Back inside KFC Yum Center. After the win Wednesday against Georgia Tech, the Cardinals take the court against the Clemson Tigers. Their LS Tractor starting lineup features Amir Sims, the junior from Palmyra, Virginia, leads the team in scoring and rebounding. And his rebounding total of 7.7 per game is 9th in the ACC. Across the way, the LS Tractor starting lineup for the Louisville Cardinals. 7-1 in conference play. Jordan Wara does the same for the Cards, leading them in scoring, almost 20 points per game. Although he did struggle against Georgia Tech with 10 points and just 1 point in the second half. But it was that come-from-behind victory over the Jackets for the Cards. They're in the old-school throwback Louisville Cardinal uniforms against the Tigers in the purple, or more familiarly known in Clemson, South Carolina, as Regalia. And this is Sims extending the range. That's what he does. This time, misfires on his opening attempt.
I'm glad that color was cleared up for me since I'm colorblind. So, you know, the white I got.
Yes. The darker look is for the Tigers.
Yeah.
Mike and I have been lucky enough to spend the week here in Louisville, Kentucky, and
I can't wait for the IRS notice to show up from the city of Louisville for next year.
Everybody's been so gracious. They have literally rolled out the red carpet for us this week.
I did the obligatory drive by the Twin Spires. You know, had to go by Churchill Downs.
About a Sims three-pointer away from our location. Up by the football field, Cardinal Stadium. That'll fall in, and Louisville's on the board first.
Darius Perry with a nice little pull-up inside. You know, Sims not a great, a real threat as a rim protector, so that interior is going to be open for Louisville.
That is Newman, and another miss for the Tigers. They've missed their first 3 shot attempts, 2 from Sims, 1 from Newman.
And let's see how much zone that Louisville plays. Back-to-back baskets for him. But they worked extensively on that in practice yesterday. And, you know, they're in man right now, but I think they'll sprinkle it in a little bit depending on how Clemson is shooting from the perimeter.
5 points for Darius Perry, trying to defend in this instance. A whistle stops play on that drive by Curran Scott, and a foul is called against the Cardinals. 18-12 to go in the first half. Time for our Ford Keys to the game with Mike Cheminsky.
Well, we talked about it for Clemson. The big thing for them is going to be perimeter offense. The Louisville plays the pack line defense, very tough to get to the rim. And for the Cardinals, they've had to come out from deficits the last few games. Now they've been successful, but that's a dangerous game to play. So they want to get off to a quick start, and they have.
So that is 1 of 2 for Scott. Free throw shooting has been an issue this season for the Tigers. Just 65% as a team that is 14th in the conference. Mike mentioned they did beat Wake on Tuesday, but they were 7 of 18 from the line.
And then, you know, in years past, recently under Brad Brownell, they've been a really good free throw shooting team. So this is a little bit of an aberration. You know, 10 years ago, they were not.
A three-pointer out of the corner in front of that Tiger bench. Enoch.
Their bigs will pull out and shoot threes. Enoch 30% on the year.
Sims on the drive, but an offensive foul is called on number 25 in purple. First on Sims.
Local basketball.
You know, and like I said, 7 points against Wake Forest, but 3 of his last 5 games has been over 20 points. And it has been, you know, they're asking him to do so much and run the offense through him.
Enoch trying to save it. All of a sudden, he finds himself wide open. Got it back from Perry. Strong power move, and Sims met him in midair, mind you.
Tracked for one play, that rim protector. That was a terrific defensive play, and that was right after he picked up an offensive foul too, Tom. So, you know, big play right there. And there's a clean block. And we saw in the game at Georgia Tech, the referees let a lot of physical play go on inside on both ends of the floor. So as long as it's consistent, you deal with it.
So Mack knocks down a three.
I'm talking to the coaching staff that, you know, they specifically said Hunter Tyson off the bench and Tevin Mack from the perimeter were going to be a big key in this game.
Just a 2-point basket for Mack, but he is a double-digit scorer, almost 12 points per game, and he's got the board for the Tigers, and he clears it to Trapp. Clyde Trapp gets it back. Junior from Eastover, South Carolina. Got fenced in momentarily by the Cardinal defense.
If that was a good pass back to Sims, he could have launched the three, but just, you know, off by a little bit.
Newman had to kick it out. Trapp lets it go for three and gets a very kind bounce. The iron, most hospitable for Clyde Trapp.
You know, it's funny. You look at the numbers, and Sims is actually the best three-point shooter on the team. And the rest of them are all around 30%, kind of right around that line that it's all right. You know, it's a weapon for us.
Clyde Trapp just 23% from beyond the arc to start the afternoon, but his sixth made three, closing the gap to 2 points, and the shot clock at 3. Perry from way outside. He's got 8 points. What a first half so far for Perry.
But you know, you make mention of the new length of the three-point shot, and my retort is most of these guys don't even get close to the old line, and that was at least 5 feet behind
Absolutely.
The new line.
22 feet, 1 3/4 inches to the international distance this year in men's college basketball. Trapp straight away does not get the desired result. Sims tried to bounce it off of Enoch, goes out of bounds and will be Cardinal basketball. We're at the first few minutes of this game. Darius Perry only had 5 points on Wednesday against Georgia Tech. Perry has already knocked down 8, and the Cards have the lead. Well, you may have noticed that the Cardinals are rocking the old school uniforms that harken back to the mid-1970s. The Throwback Saturday from Louisville Basketball is our tweet of the week, brought to you by Toyota. And it's in reference to that 1975 Final Four team, which will be honored at halftime. 45th anniversary. They've got the throwback uniforms on. That team made it to the national semifinals before losing to eventual national champ UCLA back in 1975.
And that was Coach Wooden's last and 10th title.
It was.
In winning in that year, retired, and you know, Coach Denny Crum went on to win in 1980 and in 1986, which was Mike Krzyzewski's first Final Four in Dallas.
Only good news for Cards fans there in that Final Four.
Never nervous Purvis.
UCLA beat Kentucky in 1975 in San Diego, California.
Kentucky fared a little bit better in '78, unfortunately.
I wasn't even going to bring that up, Mike. You did follow it up with Player of the Year honors the following season, though, on the inside for Duke. Shot clock is at 7 for Sims, backing in. Wara lets him take the shot. Sims recovers it.
I'd have much rather had that banner than
I know
any individual award.
There is a 43 hanging from the rafter as well at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Scott with the turnaround, had it deflected away by Enoch. Now Mack doesn't get the roll. Enoch skies for the board. You mentioned those 2 national titles, Mike, and a championship season back in 2013. That one bounces off a little bit too strong.
Getting inside, but you know, I was so impressed with David Johnson on Wednesday, and I think he's got a chance to be a great player in this league and beyond.
3-pointer from Newman.
Hello, Newman.
The obligatory hello, Newman, as he knocks down a 3-pointer. Enoch muscling his way in for 2.
Yeah, got great position that time, both feet in the basket, you know, in the paint area, about 4 feet in front of the rim. It's either 2 points or a foul, and right now that, you know, Sims, he's already picked up 1 foul. He can't afford a second one this early in the half.
So that's 5 points for Enoch. Did connect on a 3-point basket, just his 8th of the season earlier in the half. As we close in On the 13-minute mark, it's a traveling violation against the Tigers.
Number 500 Tyson, number 55 Trey Jefferson.
Well, let's see if Hunter Tyson can now pick up where he left off. 21 points in 24 minutes against Wake Forest. I mean, that's incredible. It's 6'8", and really only took 2 threes. I mean, did a lot of his damage inside.
Went 9 of 13. At 21 points in the win against Wake on Tuesday for the Tigers. He's a sophomore from Monroe, North Carolina. Offensive glass. Malik Williams, first basket.
I can tell you, I went to practice yesterday, and they weren't sure if he was going to play today. Because he tweaked his knee against Georgia Tech in the first half. Swelled up a little bit, but seems good to go. He looked good in practice and the shoot-around today.
He's wearing the brace on that right knee. That was Tyson over the top and out of bounds for the foul. First on Hunter Tyson.
Those are the ones, I mean, look, there's the knee brace right there on that right knee, and he hyperextended it. It wasn't anything, like an ACL or anything, meniscus or anything internally. But he's good to go.
He was tied for the team lead with 13 points on a Wednesday. A driving basket from Samuel Williamson. His first 2 points.
So yeah, Tyson might have been a little more aggressive defensively if he hadn't picked up that foul on the other end of the floor going over the back.
McMahon deflected it. He'll run it up. McMahon straight away. Long distance. Johnson got tied up with Jemison. And the arrow's going to favor the Cardinals. We'll take a timeout with 11:50 to go in our first half of the Cardinals in front of the Tigers. Some of the veterans in attendance in our game this afternoon being honored on Denny Crum Court right now. That takes us right to our USAA ACC scoring leaders. And in our game today, Jordan Wara over 19 points per game behind Elijah Hughes. And second in the league in scoring, but he has not attempted a field goal today, Mike, and he struggled in the second half against Georgia Tech on Wednesday.
He struggled in the last 2 games. It's illustrated in this graph. Only 8 points, shooting under 30% from the field and from the 3. So, just going through one of those phases, you hope that it's, you come out and you hit a shot, and, but his body language didn't look good against Georgia Tech first half, second half. And, so hopefully he comes out, gets involved early, and works his way out of it. He's too good a player to be stuck at those numbers where he is right now.
And right now, he is on the bench with Coach Mack. Wara, the junior from Buffalo, New York. Mentioned that second half against the Jackets on Wednesday. Just 1 point. He missed all 4 of his field goal attempts. Does have a couple of rebounds so far, but again, he is out of the game. And Johnson on the inbounds with 11:50 to go in our first half of play. Tom Wormy, Mike Chiminski, our outstanding ACC College Hoops production crew with you from Louisville, Kentucky. Batted away. Quick hands of Hunter. Win Tuesday at home against Wake Forest, 71-68, but a turnover on this trip. Johnson drops it off.
How about that? A 2-on-4 break, and Johnson ran it beautifully. Normally, if you don't have numbers, you stop at the free throw line and pull it back and wait for some help to come.
4 points for Williams, trying to defend Sims. Has to kick it out to Mack. Cards have possession on an 8-0 run over the last minute 45. Johnson drew defensive attention. Three-pointer from the corner. Samuel Williamson, and he's got 5.
Not really known as a three-point shooter, only 4 on the year coming in.
Only attempted 14 on the entire season prior to this afternoon.
Here's the look. Terrific. We talked about him being a two-way player. Coming up there, pulling up, didn't get the charge, and then the nice kick out for the three-point shot. So he's unselfish. He can shoot the ball. I mean, he really gives you everything and maybe more that you expect out of a freshman.
Out of Trinity High School, Louisville, Kentucky. It's an 11-0 run over the last 2 minutes and 48 seconds for Louisville. And while we have a second, we get a word from Works.
The Works Switch Driver. With 2 rotating chucks, you can switch between bits in a second and get projects done twice as fast.
Samuel Williamson, the freshman from Rockwall, Texas. High school All-American last season. Averaged 25 points per game at Rockwall High School.
And you can see that the game that Hunter Tyson had against Wake Forest has got Louisville's attention. They are all over him. He's had a tough time receiving the ball.
They'll let this one fly. Johnson commands the rebound. That's his third of the game here in the first half. Got his defender in the air and puts it in the bucket.
You know the thing, Tom, with him, he makes it look effortless too. I mean, we talk about all the things that he does out on the floor, but it doesn't look like it's just coming so naturally.
Our hardest star to watch is in the box score as far as points are concerned. This is Trapp looking for another 3. Enoch had the box out. Johnson shoots 52% from the floor, Mike, on the season.
9 of 13 field goal attempts for the Tigers are from behind the arc.
McMahon got hit on his way to the rim.
That's a foul number 3, Chase Hunter.
Chase Hunter picks up his first personal. When you send Ryan McMahon to the free throw line, he thought he was going there. Guess he's not. When he does get there, Mike, he's a 91% free throw shooter. That's the best in school history. That's what I wanted to say.
Well, when you're at that level, you remember every single one of your misses because there's so few.
He's only missed 2 this season,
yeah,
right?
So, he could probably tell you exactly when he missed and where he missed. An offensive foul.
Yeah, Mike Eads, Mike Roberts, Tommy Morrissey, our officiating crew. And they get the foul on Enoch. Second on Enoch. Coach Chris Mack in his second season.
And that was, with the whole Rick Pitino thing, and Dave Padgett came in, and I thought he did a solid job. But I really think the administration just wanted to make a break. I thought I could argue that he deserved another year or so. But Chris Mack was a terrific hire. And I never thought he'd leave Xavier, but he always talked about coaching in the ACC was a dream job.
Up ahead, Wara takes one big step and hammers it.
That's the most aggressive move I've seen him make in a couple of games. So maybe that's the thing that gets him going.
Wara on the sprint and the jam, and he's got his first 2 points of the afternoon. And take a look at that score, Mike Jaminski. 26-9, the Ville. Mack misses. Williamson came in and has the basketball, but that foul is against the Cardinals. Malik Williams, his first personal.
Well, you can see that Clemson, they're shooting threes. But unless there's somebody they're only sending one person to the offensive glass. They're getting 4 back because they're concerned about transition defense. And Sims just happened to get inside position on that shot, and it was a soft miss, so he was able to get the foul.
It's a 15-0 run for Louisville over the last 4.5 minutes. Trapp has to adjust the shot in midair.
That was awkward.
Up ahead, Wara running again, and he beats everybody to the rim. The follow from David Johnson going on a rim bender.
Again, another 2-on-4 break. You get that miss on that layup, and if you're Clemson, you've got to clean that up. You get Wara to miss on that, but that's the athleticism of Johnson. And the 3, the rim is just really small for the Tigers right now from behind the arc.
2 of 11.
Yep.
for Clemson. Around the perimeter, Wara. The deep three is good, and Wara has come alive. 5 points for Jordan Wara in the first half, 31-9.
Yeah, I think at this point, you know, I know you want to take threes and kind of, you know, claw your way back into it. And here's the shot, and you know, it started with the dunk with Wara, and then now it's just building out. But if you're Clemson, they have not taken a free throw in this game. You got to start attacking the basket, I think.
That's what Newman's trying to do, taking the advice of the All-American Mike Jaminski and heading to the free throw line for Johnny Newman.
You know, you stop the clock, get to the free throw line, you know, just slow down. You know, now you're playing this half. You got the media timeout coming up in a little bit under 8, so you played in 4-minute increments. Try to win the 2 4-minute segments that you have coming up in this half, and you know, try to get it back under double figures.
David Johnson coming out of the game for the Cardinals.
If you know, on Wednesday we saw late in the game that Louisville let Georgia Tech back into that game a little bit. You know, so there's a lot of time left in this game, and it's not insurmountable.
They had fought back from an 11-point deficit to allow Josh Pastner and the Jackets back into that one. Ultimately, the victory for Louisville at home on Wednesday, 68-64. Turnaround from Williams. Wara trying to grab it. Got 2 players on the deck fighting for it. Newman, and now Mack went to the deck to save it. To Trapp.
Well, 3-on-3 ball.
Trapp wants to go all the way, and he does it.
Nice take. Got to his right hand.
That ends the run for Louisville. After Newman had gone to the free throw line and ended it. Backing down. Some rough play underneath. And an offensive foul on Dwayne Sutton. Jordan Wara running the floor. And part of the Cardinals' run of 20-0, hitting the three-pointer for Wara as well.
ACC College Hoops is brought to you by The Works Switch Driver 2-in-1 Drill and Driver, Myrtle Beach Golf Trail, and Bojangles Sausage Biscuits. It's bow time.
Back at KFC Young Center, Louisville, Kentucky, and the Cardinals on the strength of a 20-0 run have the lead in the first half as they go around the league and other scores for the ACC, Mike.
In North Carolina, Roy Williams picks up the win to move past Coach Smith. And first win in 2020 for the Tar Heels. So, you know, good news there. And that's quite an august group right there, that 5. And I think Jim Boeheim's number should be adjusted at some point in time. It's ridiculous that he took away those wins.
Major League Baseball.
Of course, and then Mike Krzyzewski going past his former coach at Madison Square Garden a couple of years ago.
Brandon Robinson had 29 points in the North Carolina win, 94-71, stopping a 5-game losing streak for the Tar Heels. 6 games on the slate on this Saturday afternoon in the ACC. We're so glad that you're with us. Cardinals trying to extend a 5-game winning streak. Tigers have won 4 of their last 5. Sutton, difficult shot. First basket for Sutton.
Against Georgia Tech, he and McMahon did not score in the first half of that game, letting the Yellow Jackets build up that lead.
Another 3-point miss from the Tigers. They're now 2 of 13 in the game. That computes to 15%. Despite that miss right there, Louisville shooting above 63% in the first half. Williams trailing the play as Scott tries another 3. Back to the well, and not the result he was looking for. Perry weaving his way. Couldn't spin it off the glass.
It's a few layups now that Louisville is left crying up on the rim.
Tigers went over 6 minutes without a field goal as the Cards went on that 20-0 run. As we approach 5.5 minutes to go in the first half. Trapp needs to make a decision. Shot clock at 3. Will he get the shot away? He will not. Perry knocked it away, but a foul is called. Couldn't have been but 1 second left on the shot clock.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's tough. You're guarding a guy, you know, man to man, and have a, you know, try to have a sense of the shot clock. But you know, that was going to be a 30-second violation. There was virtually no chance of him getting the ball up in the rim, and as a result of that foul, he's going to get the 1-on-1.
Just 36% from the free throw line on the season for Trapp. Junior from Eastover, South Carolina. Hunter Tyson's back in. You see Williams leaving the court for the Cards. David Johnson is in, number 13 in black and red.
Brad Brownell's he's just searching for a unit that can score. Out there, somebody to come in and give them a lift offensively.
Alamir Dawes, the freshman from Newark, New Jersey, in for Trapp, who just made that free throw, and he's got 5 points as he goes to the Tiger bench. What a pass by McMahon to Williamson.
Well, we're actually with both of these units, and right now, Sutton is essentially the 5 out there, but the spacing is so good that there are so many cutting lanes open, and that was a great back door.
Sims, the double team from McMahon. He backs away. Sims can't hit the short shot. And that was Wara who had it on the floor, but it's a traveling violation. And Chris Mack wants.
Well, they're going to argue that he was helped to the floor, but that's an automatic call for the officials when somebody hits the deck and slides a little bit.
So we went right over to official Tommy Morrissey to plead his case.
Yeah, I think he thought he got it out of his hands fast enough.
Bucket from Scott. He's got 3 points in the first half. For Curran Scott, graduate transfer for the Tigers. Coming over from Tulsa. Johnson tried that big dribble move again. Collected himself and hits the circus shot over his shoulder for 6 points in the first half.
And that's Hunter Tyson's 6'8".
It's a big dribble.
And you use
half for the Tigers after scoring 9 in the victory against Wake on Tuesday.
Starting to see a little more rhythm out of the Clemson offense, but you give up that 20-0 run, it's hard to overcome.
Yeah, the Cards shot 9 of 12 from the floor in that run that Mike referenced. Wara, twisting shot, won't get the bounce, but he will get the whistle. So it should be Wara at the line when we come back. How about the pass from McMahon to Williamson? Threads it perfectly for the double-fisted rim rocker from Samuel Williamson. 37-18, the Bill.
ACC College Hoops is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. Be bold, be confident, live fearless. Your local Ford dealer. And LS Tractor. Visit us at lstractorusa.com.
This is the 10th season inside KFC Yum Center for the Louisville basketball program. 155-26, Mike, is their record in this building. And they won on Wednesday to extend their winning streak to 5 in a row as they beat Georgia Tech here.
And they're undefeated on the road. 1 or 2 teams along with your team, Syracuse Orange.
I just like competitive basketball in the ACC, Mike. And Louisville's 11-1 here this season.
But we're seeing another number that we saw against Georgia Tech. The bench for Louisville outscored them 32-0. It's 17-0 right now in this game, bench points.
Wara was at the free throw line with 3:20 to go. He's got 6 points in the first half. But he's provided a spark for this Louisville team. As Mike mentioned, he struggled the last couple of games, just 10 points against Georgia Tech, and for him, well below his season average. Newman, a lot of dribbling, a difficult shot, deep under the rim, and it's pulled away by Sutton.
Well, it's been interesting to see that for Johnson, and then another rush up the floor, just lapsed defensively by Clemson. Never really got turned around, and Wara just out sprinting everybody.
Hunter, stop and start.
Yeah, they
puts that one through.
Last 5 minutes or so, they've taken fewer threes and trying to get back into this game in the lane.
First points for Hunter, Mike. You mentioned the three-pointers. 2 of 14 for the Tigers from beyond the arc. This is Wara fighting inside and driving.
That's fine. You want to get into the lane, see the ball go through the hoop, and then if you want to build back out from that, it's good, but it's tough to come out of the shoot and start, jacking up threes, and, if you start missing, you get it.
Jordan Wara, 78% from the line, and before we continue, a quick word from Continental Tire.
Continental Tire, for what you do.
That's double digits for Jordan Wara with 10 points. Double figures for the 17th time this season. He'll get a breather. Mike, I think earlier in the half when Coach Mack sat him down when he had not taken a shot yet and just had a couple of rebounds to his credit, he's been a different player since that point.
Yep. And I think there's been some conversations. You just want to get him back. I mean, all players go through it. They'll have a couple of games where, do that. You just kind of have to work through all of it. And it all started for him with that dunk. I mean, just getting out on the break.
Johnson switched to the left hand. Offensive foul as Sims hit the deck. And now David Johnson has picked up his first personal foul. Both teams in the bonus at this instance with 1:54 to go. Head coach Chris Mack, what a journey in researching his history, Mike. At one point, he was the junior varsity girls head coach at Macaulay High School in Cincinnati. And now he's the head coach of one of the premier programs in the nation.
Right, and it's funny. Going through the era, I mean, there were, most of the great coaches started out coaching in high school and worked their way up. I mean, that's Skip Prosser, perfect example, who Chris played for. And he actually said that the experience that he got actually having to teach a class and following that play helped him out in his coaching. Ticky-tack foul that time, but you get your arm extended out there, and especially when you're on the perimeter, it's very easy for the referees to see that. You talk to most referees, the hardest thing that they have to defend is the block charge line and the post play. When you're out on the perimeter, it's relatively easy to see a foul.
Just the 17th free throw attempt of the season for Williamson, and with that free throw, he's gotten to double digits with 10 points here in the first half.
Well, you look at Louisville. I mean, they're not only 64% from the floor, 5 of 7 from 3. I mean, that's an area that we thought that Clemson had to win.
Johnson unselfish, gave it back to Berry, and he takes it up off the square for 2 on the fast break.
Yeah, I think that Georgia Tech game got Louisville's attention, and this is a much different team, especially in the first half.
You mentioned them being 5 for 7, Mike, from beyond the arc. By percentage, they are the best shooting team from long distance in the conference at 39%. In the last 6 games, they shot 42% from beyond the arc. You may have noticed that the coaches and their coaching staffs are wearing sneakers for our game today. It's part of the Coaches versus Cancer Initiative, but it's for a special reason here in Louisville. For the second straight year, the Cardinals are wearing the sneakers branded with Jackson's Journey. And they're remembering Louisville strength and conditioning coach Andy Kepler's son Jackson lost his battle with cancer at the age of 2 in July of 2016. So they honor Jackson with the Coaches versus Cancer Initiative wearing the sneakers. And we should mention Clemson also, their coaching staff wearing sneakers as well, but for a very special reason for the Cardinals.
Can't even imagine that as going through that as a parent, you know, at any age, regardless of, you know, how old your children are, but especially at 2 years old. My goodness.
Incredible show of strength and unity and support for that family by the Louisville basketball family and all of the coaches and their coaching staffs throughout the country in support of Coaches versus Cancer, and they've got the sneakers on today.
And my good friend and great friend and teammate Kenny Denard has been involved with that. He's a long-time cancer survivor and has been very involved with the Coaches versus Cancer.
5 on the shot clock. It's going. It's not going to count.
He kicked his leg out that time.
Not going to count.
That's an offensive foul. That's a World B free move that time.
Williamson with the 3.
That was a really great call by Mike East.
It's his first foul.
Watch this. Watch the right leg. Watch the right leg. Right there. I mean, you got to go straight up in that situation. And that's a good call. And he's right there. I mean, the reference Mike is like 3 feet away from it.
First foul on Williamson. And that was Chase Hunter, who was closing for the Tigers in purple. Warren knocked it away for a moment. Newman will shoot it. Game clock running out. And that kind of signifies the struggles for the Tigers in the first half from beyond the arc. Coach Barnell's team just 4 of 18. From 3-point distance, halftime straight ahead with the Cardinals way in front of the Tigers here in Louisville. Jordan Wara, big first half for him, one of 3 players in double digits. He's part of our Toyota Let's Go Places.
Good efficient time, 10 points, 3 of 4 shooting. That dunk got him going early and a couple of the easy buckets out on the break. There you see the difference. The 10 points today is what he averaged in the prior 2. The one guy for Clemson, Amir Sims, has not scored in this game. They can't afford that, at all. 0-4 shooting. He's averaging close to 14 points a game for them on the year.
He is their leading scorer and rebounder, number 25 in purple, as they call it in Clemson, South Carolina. The regalia uniforms today for the Tigers. Sims misses.
You can see they're trying to get him an early touch and an early shot, but pretty good defense on that play, forces the fadeaway.
There's a guy who had a solid first half, Mike, number 2 in black, white, and red, Darius Perry.
Yeah, he's the one who got him going. He's the one who sparked that run early on.
A 20-0 run in the first half by the Cardinals. Enoch had his shot muffled, and now Trapp fires it into the corner. 3-pointer is good out of the corner for the Tigers, and Curran Scott has got 6 points in the game.
And after what an emotional lift that is. 4 of 18 in the first half for the Tigers from 3.
Wara, Perry, and Williamson off the bench with double-digit scoring in the first half. That 21-point halftime lead, the largest in any ACC game. But here's Newman. Wara got back and he blocked the dunk attempt from Newman. In transition, Sutton fills the lane, and the whistle stops play.
I think Newman made a terrific defensive play out on the wing. I think he took off 1 step farther away. If he could have gotten into the lane, would have had a better chance. Just right on the lane right there, and that gave Wara a lane to the block.
%70 on the season from the line for Dwayne Sutton, the senior from right here in Louisville, Kentucky, and a transfer from UNC Asheville. Manual High School. For Dwayne Sutton, 1 of 2, and he now has 3 points in the game.
Talked about the other day, maybe a little extra pressure for the guys who played their high school ball here in Louisville to come and play here for the Cardinals. And, Junior Bridgman at halftime referenced that as well. Most of that team was from Louisville.
7 players on that 1975 team that made the Final Four and was honored today, 45th anniversary of that run.
I had a chance to shake Coach Crum's hand and say hello to him when he came off the court.
Yeah, that was
what a fine gentleman. Great coaches in the history of the game.
He spent 8 years as an assistant under John Wooden at UCLA. You faced him on an ACC court, G-Man, Coach Crum.
Played him in Charlotte, 1979. The year before, when we were.
I remember that game.
Those teams were won. It was a blizzard.
Okay.
It was about 16 inches of snow.
It was a G-Man blizzard on the court, too. 22 points and 9 boards. Sutton, free ball. $16-point win for the G-Man. Just to see Coach Crum, though, and that 75 team. What a great moment for that group.
Junior Bridgman, I saw enough of him when he was playing with the Milwaukee Bucks. What a great pro he turned into as well, and probably a better businessman. Perry comes back, and it's a greater businessman than he ever was a basketball player. That's saying something.
Well, the current edition of the Louisville Cardinals honoring that 1975 team with their performance this afternoon. Perry's now up to 13 points, Mike, and he's made all 3 of his 3-point attempts. Trapp tries to cross it over. Mack provides the safety valve. Nifty behind the back dribble, and then Sims will tap it in.
First look in this first basket, and a better job so far early. They've knocked down a 3, but also looking inside.
Heat check. Perry, 16 points, 4 of 4 from 3-point real estate for Darius Perry.
And he comes in averaging 5.5 points a game.
Not tonight. Darius Perry leads everybody with 16 points, and the Cards racing way out in front of the Tigers. It is time for Bo Big Moments featuring Darius Perry. 4 for 4 from beyond the arc and 16 points in the game.
And that's in 17 minutes, 2 times. So that's about as efficient as it gets. And when you go 4 for 4 from behind the arc, it certainly helps the cause as well.
Only had 5 points on Wednesday against Georgia Tech for Perry, and was 1 of 5 on 3-point attempts. Hasn't missed yet from beyond 22 feet 1 3/4 inches away for the junior from Marietta, Georgia, well above his season average of 5.4 points per game. Trapp. Fouls on Wara, his 3rd.
For a lot of the game, especially when he's been in there, David Johnson has been guarding Hunter Tyson. Even though he's 6'8" and Johnson a little shorter than him, he knows he's going to be out on the perimeter a lot. So he has not gotten many touches of the ball. 8 points, 3 or 4 shooting. I should say nope, he has not scored in this game.
Trapp is at the line. 6 points in the game for Trapp. Yeah, that's Tyson, Mike, coming off of that career performance and the 21 points against Wake on Tuesday, a career high to lead the team in that victory as Williamson comes back in.
It doesn't take long for the scouting report to catch up to you. I mean, a coach sees that, watches that game film, and that grabs his attention pretty quickly.
Coach Brownell told us in our meeting before the game he wished he'd scored about 15, and not quite that many, so he didn't rise to the top of the scouting report. Tell you what, the Cards have been ready from the get-go. And they are racing towards the backstretch with a monstrous lead here in Derby City. Hunter catch and release. Trying to follow his own miss. Sutton beats him to the spot. Foul on the Tigers. And Chase Hunter.
His third personal foul. Second team foul. Louisville basketball.
Cards had that enormous win, Mike, last Saturday on the road at then number 3 Duke, 79-73. Ended the game with an 8-3 run over the last 3.5 minutes and shot 48% to get the victory on the road and get Coach Mack his 250th career win.
Clemson having a big win.
Oh, back-to-back, right?
At home, you know, after breaking that 0-59 streak and then going back into Littlejohn and beating Duke there.
0-59 is no more for the Tigers, but today it's a different story.
That may be 2 of the biggest back-to-back wins that program has ever had.
See, coming up right after us, we got more college basketball. NC State is at Georgia Tech.
Not that it's, you know, different for everybody, but that's a big game for NC State. If they can go on the road and get that win and move themselves up the, you know, all of a sudden let's maybe start talking about them as a tournament team.
They've won 3 in a row, including a home victory against this Tiger program. They also defeated Virginia to follow that up. Really outside of Louisville and Florida State, maybe Group Duke in there as well. They've distanced themselves just a little bit as we head towards Greensboro, North Carolina, in the ACC tournament, the 67th New York Life ACC tournament. Tyson. Wow, that's a clockwise swirl, Mike.
Yeah, he used all of the equipment that time.
The iron was most kind to the young man. Shout out.
I'm going to tell Brando about it. I'm going to be working with him
You'll
on
see him Tuesday, I know.
Yeah.
Please say hello. Give him my regards.
We'll have a chat.
Thank you. Syracuse and Clemson.
The maestro.
The aerial pass by Williamson. And
kind of some loose possessions the last 2 or 3 times up the floor by the Cardinals.
So the difference right now, 20. That's out of bounds. It's going to stay at this end of the floor. Now, you mentioned those signature wins this season for Coach Brownell, Tiger program. January 14th, the win at home against then number 3 Duke, 79-72. And January 11th, Mike, at North Carolina, as you mentioned, the Tiger program had been 0-59, but 0-59 is no more because they got the win 79-76 in overtime. They went on a 12-2 run at the end of regulation to tie that game and force OT. A different feel in this one for sure. Jemison traveling. That series for the Tigers against North Carolina went all the way back to 1926 in Chapel Hill.
That was one of the more improbable streaks in sports. I mean, you'd have thought that one year, like the whole team would have had the flu or something. It wasn't like Clemson had. I mean, they had some really good teams in their, you know, in the late 70s and under Rick Barnes. And
the Tigers could have actually made some history today, and they still may. But barring a huge comeback,
Oliver Purnell and his, you know, he had some good years in there as well. And
2008 to the ACC title game in Charlotte. Williams is open. Newman collided with Williams. I think Newman tried to hold up a little bit and brace Williams.
I wonder if they had him. I wonder if they'd look at that and see if it was a flagrant. It was on the ball. See, that was a really hard foul. I think they're going to talk about it. And
Mike Eads, Mike Roberts, Tommy Morrissey.
Yeah, they're going to go look at it and see. So it's going to be close.
Yeah, it was Newman colliding with Williams. He threw the fake, and Newman went for it.
The fact is, I think most of the contact was following through with the body. It looked like he made a play on the fall. Here's the look. We'll see it again right here. He goes for the pump fake, and he never hit him above the shoulder area.
You see Newman's left hand. He's trying to brace him. It doesn't, certainly, neither one of them wants to be injured on the play, but it was an awkward fall. And you can see they had a good-natured little exchange there at the very end of the play. Nothing malicious about it, but Newman was going for the block, and he was moving fast and in the direction of Williams.
Heck, pump fake. Got flying up in the air.
Newman's head was about at the level of the rim there. Let's see what the officials decide. Mike Eads is coming our way. He may have a word from Mike Jaminski. We'll see. Eads, Robertson, Morrissey, the trio patrolling the court this afternoon.
And flagrant one, they did come down on that side of it.
Excessive and or unnecessary contact. So ruled under those guidelines, and a flagrant one against Newman. Flagrant 2 would be ejection, but flagrant 1, you can get a flagrant 1 up until your allotment of 5 personal fouls. And before we continue, Mike, a word from Bojangles.
Say good morning and mean it with 2 hefty, zesty Bojangles sausage biscuits. It's Bo time.
So this just the 9th all-time meeting between the teams. Louisville leads at 6-8 and 3-2 as ACC opponents, but they've won all 5 meetings against the Tigers in Louisville, Kentucky. Teams did go to overtime in Clemson, South Carolina in 2018, 74-69. The win for the Tigers on their home court, Little John Coliseum.
Well, I have to tell you, this Louisville program has been in a ton of different leagues over the course of their history.
We honored the team from 1975, which played in the Missouri Valley Conference.
In the Metro, Big East.
Driving bucket, Amir Dawes. He's got 2. That's his first bucket. How about the Big East, Conference USA?
Yep.
They were a founding member of the Metro Conference. Weak side Sutton.
Tectonic changing landscape of college basketball over the last 50 years.
6th year in the ACC for the Louisville Cardinals. And they're up by 19. We're midway through our second half on ACC College Hoops. Commissioner Gene Corrigan, who passed away last night. Collegiate coach in many different sports at Washington and Lee University, notably at the University of Virginia, lacrosse and soccer and basketball. He'd become the AD at Washington and Lee and then take over that role at the University of Virginia and at Notre Dame in 1981. 3rd full-time commissioner of the ACC on September 1st, 1987 until his retirement in December of 1996. Gene Corrigan, survived by his wife Lena, children Louise, Catherine, David, Kevin, Brian, Tim, and NC State Athletic Director Boo Corrigan. Gene Corrigan was 91 years old, and we remember the former ACC commissioner this afternoon.
Yep, oversaw bringing Florida State into the conference
back in 1990
as the 9th team, and I had the pleasure of a longtime friend of playing with his nephew Jim, who's assistant with the women's team at Duke.
McMahon with a 3. So for the Cardinals now, that is 9 of 15. The first 3 in the game for McMahon. 9 of 15 from beyond the arc as Wara picks up his 4th personal foul. Double digits in the game for Wara, 10 points. Now, he also had double digits against Georgia Tech, Mike, on Wednesday, but in a much different way than he did this afternoon.
Yeah, and that was a tough foul. I mean, trying to go for the steal and really didn't have much of a chance of coming up with it against Newman. And you go for that home run play, and all of a sudden now you're on the bench with 4 fouls. Great hands by McMahon on the out of bounds.
Hemingway picks up the foul as McMahon disrupted the inbounds play. First on Hemingway.
And McMahon's not the biggest guy in the world. He just timed it correctly, and I keep on saying how amazing it is how some teams have trouble getting the ball in from underneath out of bounds, sideline out of bounds, just entering the ball onto the court.
Enoch got Sims in the air, goes around him, that rolls off. Enoch tried to follow the miss, but it will be Cardinal basketball. With this team so far out in front of the Tigers, you see McMahon right in front of our broadcast position. First of all, he knocked the ball out of bounds, Mike, on the inbounds play. The effort that is involved, regardless of what the score is, to play through the entirety of the 40 minutes, demanded by the head coach, Chris Mack.
Well, what did he say to you in Clemson knocks down a 3 in that piece that we saw at halftime? That he wants competition every day in practice, and that you asked him about the culture and what he wants to build. That type of play represents what he wants to have happen here.
Absolutely. Sutton, front rim. Sims had it for a moment, got tangled up with Enoch. It is off of the Tigers. Not a whole lot has gone right today for Sims and his teammates. Sims has just 2 points, Mike, 1 of 6 shooting. And when we spoke to Coach Mack at the shoot-around today, I kind of threw out there, hey, what's the difference going to be in this game? And you think it's defense, transition, fast break, whatever it is. He said 2 words, Amir Sims, to me, and they've done a fantastic job on shutting him down this afternoon.
Well, again, I refer back to the scouting report. And, he's, for this team right now, he's at the top. And that's a hard thing, when you have other great players around you, you can work around that and find your way. But when you're number one, it's day in, night out. It's difficult.
Just look what he did against Duke, against North Carolina. In the home win against Duke for Sims, 25 points, a career high and a game high. And then at North Carolina, he had 20 points, 8 boards, 6 assists, 4 blocks, and he hit the critical 3, if you recall, Mike, in the corner in front of his own bench. 3.5 seconds to go. He hits the 3 to send it to overtime. Not so lucky today, though, against the Louisville Cardinals with the throwback uniforms on. Should mention that the Tigers wearing the purple. This is the first time they've worn those uniforms this season. I don't know if we'll see them again this year.
Might go in the closet for a while.
We'll see.
I tried it. Well, I might try it at home, but
they have worn them sporadically over the last 3 years. In Louisville, his throwback uniform is going to get some attention with that. If you take a look at on the shorts, they've got an iteration of the Cardinal, which I'm sure very few have seen or remember, but it is pretty slick on the shorts there. That's in addition to the throwback logo that's on the middle of the court. So we are kicking it old school this afternoon, Mike Jaminski. There might be some orders for that new Cardinal and that Cardinal as well. You'll notice he has the appropriate footwear on it also.
Do you think this is a marketing ploy at all? Yeah, here's another.
I love it.
Here's another jersey you guys can buy out there.
I love the uniforms. The old school uniforms.
At the low price of $90.
Very cool look by both teams this afternoon. Of course, on the scoreboard, the look favors the Cards. Sutton high for the board and the clearance.
I mean, interesting to talk to the guys from the 75 team and get their impression of what the game is like today as opposed to when they played, Tom.
Well, we got to hear from them at halftime as the 75 team was honored, and Junior Bridgman addressed the crowd.
No shot clock, no three-point line.
Elamir Dawes the miss. The lead has been as large as 26 in this game for the Cards. as we've got 8:40 to go in regulation. And time winds down on our Louisville Odyssey. How about that one? Off the backboard, around the rim, and out. Fresh Kimball. Kimball's part of that experience-laden group. He's a graduate transfer from St. Joseph's.
This is, we talked to Chris Mack yesterday at practice, and this is as oldest a team is. They got a bunch of redshirt seniors and grad students. You know, this is an old, experienced group. Guys who have been here and been together for a long time.
Kimball's a 1,000-point scorer out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They flip it right back to Perry straight away. And it's all net for Darius Perry.
Perfect from behind the arc, 5 of 5.
19 points for Perry, 7 of 11 overall, and the 19 points is a career high for the junior from Marietta, Georgia. Perry averaging 5.4 points per game before this afternoon. That's 8 for Alamir Dawes. Head coach Danny Crum. 30 years as the head coach and a couple of national titles for the Louisville Cardinals under Coach Crum. With the Cardinals up by 20 on the Tigers, 7:18 to go in the second half. It is time for CPI Security protecting the paint.
Really nice job right there. A little bit over handling by Clemson, and quick hands by the Cards, and then they've gotten out in transition and converted pretty quickly.
That is CPI Security protecting the paint. Cards with a commanding lead right now with 7:18 to go.
Only 8 points in the paint for Clemson in the game. 26-8 advantage there.
That was a big reason why the Tigers beat Wake Forest at home on Tuesday. Outscored them 30-16 in the paint and just had 7 turnovers in that game against Wake. 71-68 the victory after trailing at halftime.
See, and the good news is, I think, for Louisville, if they continue, if this continues, that, and we did see some of Malik Williams early in the game, but this type of game allows him to get a rest now, and they don't play again until Wednesday, so it gives that knee a little more chance to heal.
Yeah, they're on the road at Boston College. And should this score hold, and we think that it will, you never know in the ACC. Alamir Dawes had hit a couple of shots, but not this time. It would be the best start in ACC play in the 6 years in the league for the Louisville Cardinals. Last year they went 7-1. They matched it this year. If they win today, they improve to 8-1 and 17-3 on the season as the number 6 team in the nation. Sutton was trying to make the move. They are so strong, Mike, in home games against ACC competition. 36-13 to start the day, and it looks like they have control of this one against Brad Brownell and the Tigers.
Well, that's the secret to winning championships in this league is to, 1, protect home court, and 2, go out and try to be as dominant a road team as you can, and they're undefeated on the road at 4-0.
Tigers shooting just 35% of the game. As we get a whistle, there are a couple of stats that can go a long way, Mike, and it deals with the Louisville defensive unit. They're only allowing the opposition 37% from the floor. That's second best in the conference. And they defend the three-point shot as well.
That's 8th best in the country.
And the three-point defense of 29% is also second best in the ACC.
Which, in today's game, if you look at the numbers, you better be a good three-point defending team, and what a take to the rim. Right there. Tevin Mack a little bit, maybe a little too late, but that was a strong take.
4 points for Mack. Tigers today, they're up to 10 for 33 in three-point attempts. Louisville from three-point distance is 10 for 18. So both teams have made 10 three-point baskets in our game.
Yeah, think about that, though, Tom. 33 of the 50 shots they've taken are three-point baskets. And 10 of 33 is not, it's borderline okay, but they had to be better than borderline on the road here against this ball club from behind the arc.
Hemingway hits a three, right on cue. Alex Hemingway, the freshman, he'd only attempted 6 shots before this game and seen action in 2 games. He's recovering from a high ankle sprain as we take a timeout. Coach Mack's team in control. Fans of all ages enjoying the effort from the Cardinals this afternoon. Home against the Clemson Tigers. This is the first of 2 meetings between the teams in the regular season. This one's going to go the way of the Cards with 5:42 remaining.
You know, Tom, there was nothing more that I enjoyed as a player than a 1 or a 2 o'clock game on Saturday, because you get the rest of the day, you do whatever you're going to do, and then you get Sunday off, and then you come back to the practice floor on Monday.
Perfect schedule. For the Cardinals, they'll be happy about the victory. For the Tigers, some work to do. In a case like this, Mike, Tigers go over that film quite a bit, that game tape, or just kind of put this one in the bin?
You know, it is, you want to look at it, and you see it just getting driven off the three-point line that Hemingway forced to take a long 2 right there. But, you know, it's just their inability. They got off to that slow start. That 20-0 run has really been the difference in the game ever since that time. They've never been able to kind of eat into that a little bit.
That made it 31-9 in the first half after that 20-0 run for the Cardinals, seizing control of this game. Johnson up and under, going for the highlight reel play. Couldn't spin it off the square. And don't look now. If the Tigers hit a 3, this is a 12-point game. They had their chance. Hemingway had a chance in front of his home bench. That's why I always preface things with, we're in the ACC.
Yeah, and Brad Brownell looked at him and clapped and said, you know, it's a good shot. I mean, and you can't not take it.
Would have closed the gap to 12. The lead has been as big as 26 in this half.
Well, I think that, Chris Mack called that timeout about a minute and a half ago, and I think that's the reason why. He might have seen things, momentum shifting a little bit.
Final 3:57 coming your way in just a moment from Louisville, Kentucky at ACC College Hoops.
That should be a good matchup. I mean, we saw Alvarado and DeVoe have, that's a formidable backcourt for Georgia Tech. And then James Banks inside against Funderburk. So some good matchups in that game.
Yeah, a bit of a depth issue on Wednesday for Georgia Tech and its loss against Louisville. Johnson tried to rip it away from Elamir Dawes. This is Mack, and that's for 3. Right to Dawes. Hemingway, who has 8 points, number 12 in purple. Hasn't played since November 7th, and that's Sims who got fouled on the drive. Enoch in the vicinity.
They worked a little double screen at the up high on the left-hand side, and then able to work Sims into the lane area.
It's now an 8-0 Tiger run, and prior to the next free throw, a word from Myrtle Beach Golf Trail.
Myrtle Beach Golf Trail, a new way to experience golf in Myrtle Beach. Visit myrtlebeachgolftrail.com.
That's just 4 points for Sims.
But 13 points, 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
That's why I said, Mike,
Clemson turning up the pressure a little bit.
I always say if the score holds in the ACC, you just never know.
Well, and just remember the end of the game, Louisville let Georgia Tech back in.
McMahon. Enoch got the roll.
Those are the ones, I mean, pretty good initial defense that time. You got to clean up the defensive glass and not give up second chance points.
9 points for Enoch. Newman on the handle, and now Sims. Inside of 2.5 minutes to go in regulation.
There's a kick. Good call.
Brad Brownell is now the all-time winningest coach in the history of Clemson basketball with 179 victories. The game at North Carolina, he tied Cliff Ellis at 177. And then the following game at home against Duke, he took the all-time lead. 178.
Roy Williams went past Coach Smith today with that victory.
Win number 880. Into 4th position on the all-time list. That also stopped a 5-game losing streak for the Tar Heels. It's going to be interesting, Mike, to see how the shuffle falls out when we get to Greensboro and who's playing when and on what day. Wall-to-wall basketball starting on Tuesday and the championship on Saturday night in Greensboro.
Well, and I'm sure that a lot of people in Chapel Hill are asking, what the prognosis is for Cole Anthony. It's been tough sledding without him.
That's such an amazing debut against Notre Dame. In his first game in a Carolina uniform and a win at home against the Irish. They hadn't won a conference game since that one. Till today. With the win against the visiting Canes from Miami. Mack with the one-handed rip. And a timeout. Coach Brownell and the Tigers. 6 points. Kevin Mack.
He had 3 in his pocket up to that point, so they've got some time to stop the clock after made field goals. And the other thing, Louisville still has they have a foul to give before they put Clemson in the bonus.
Tigers will welcome the Cards on February 15th when they'll play at Littlejohn Coliseum. Second game in the regular season between the programs. Last season was much closer, Mike, here at KFC Yum Center. A 56-55 win for Louisville, but Clemson had a chance at the end of regulation, and the Cards made a couple of defensive plays to pull out the victory, 56-55 in their meeting last season. A brief history between the teams, just the 9th all-time meeting. First met in 1973. Upcoming road schedule for the Tigers.
Well, and to go, parse that out, I mean, it's 6 of their next 9 games are on the road, starting with this one. So just a brutal stretch for them.
Mack runs it down. 2-on-1 with Sims. Mack falling away. Had Sims with him, and you could see that they made eye contact after the play. Maybe the pass to Sims was in order there. Maintaining possession. Tigers are 1-3 on the road, 1-2 away from Clemson, South Carolina in conference play. Minute and a half. And our Louisville Odyssey, Mike, is quickly coming to a close. We spent the better part of this week here in Louisville, Kentucky, and everyone has been so gracious.
Well, and you pulling another shift last night as the women's team won again.
Well, they're number 5 in the nation.
Yep. So they've got bragging rights for between the two programs right now.
Keep an eye on Jeff Walls and the Cardinal women's program. They won the ACC tournament 2 years ago. Expectations around here for the women's program are ACC tournaments and roads to the Final Four.
Well, and the facilities around here are athletic facilities are just as good as you could imagine. for every single sport, not just basketball and football.
Football team was honored during the course of our game for their performance this season under first-year head coach Scott Satterfield, and they won the Music City Bowl. Quite a turnaround from just 2 wins and 0 conference wins a season ago for the football program. 10th year of KFC Yum Center. Holds over 22,000.
1 minute.
Final minute. Tigers and Cards. Weak side struggle. Tyson ended up with the basketball and a foul is called. It's going to be Sutton. Second on Sutton.
Boy, they really locked up Tyson too. That game got their attention against Wake Forest. Tommy's had 2 field goal attempts, both of them threes, and that's it.
First trip to the line for Hunter Tyson. Here's what lies ahead for Coach Mack and the Louisville Cardinals. First off, it will be a trip to Chestnut Hill in County 4 to the Boston College Eagles.
They got off to a great start, but have struggled a little bit recently.
BC has lost 4 in a row as they'll welcome in the Cards.
NC State being moved today. Virginia, not the same team, certainly, that they were last year when they won the national championship, but they can still defend you and make it tough for you to score 50 points.
Still lead the nation in scoring defense.
Think about how much firepower they lost offensively, though. It's just a lot to overcome.
Guy, Jerome,
I think Tony Bennett looks up at that every game now. Looks up at that national championship banner and just smiles. And
an amazing run. See what this season has in store. This Louisville program could be part of a run, Mike.
Yeah, if everybody stays healthy.
Talented ball club for Chris Mack.
I think, you get Malik Williams. I mean, they basically won the game today without his presence out on the floor at all. David Johnson's going to get much better as the season progresses. He's already playing at a high level for a freshman.
.25 seconds separating the Cardinals from their 17th win of the season. And the conference record will improve to 8-1. That is their best start in the ACC since joining the conference 6 seasons ago. Jemison able to save it. He'll try a 3. Not exactly his specialty in the closing seconds. Tyson will not get a shot away. Start to finish, a dominating performance by the Cards, keyed by a 20-0 run in the first half, and they win it over the Tigers.
Yeah, no, I thought that was the big difference. They had those 3 road wins, punctuated by that win at Cameron. And then I thought they were really sluggish in the first half against Georgia Tech. Wound up winning the game, which is a positive, obviously. But they were much better in the first half of this game than they were the last game.
They've now won 6 in a row, 3 in a row at home, and 8 of their last 10 games. We'll have more from Louisville in just a moment.